All right. Big round of applause. Thank you. I appreciate it. I am a sister, a mom, a wife. I'm a crier, so I'm just going to get it over with. It's an emotional journey, and then we'll laugh together too. But I am all of those things, and I am the daughter of someone with dementia. I would love more than nothing to share with you a playbook of this journey and what to do and what to look for. And you're going to get a lot of amazing information from our guests that are going to be speaking after me. But my job here, my goal is just to share a little bit of the journey, because there is no playbook for this whole nightmare. And I had absolutely no clue what was going on and lived in denial for a long time. But my goal is just to share with you and give you permission to live it as you are living it and seeing it, and to move through all those emotions. And I've kind of classified this. My little journey is life with my mama, and then I really wanted to write WTF, but I wanted to keep it clean. So I'm keeping it what the heck, WTH. That was kind of the part of the journey where I was like, what is happening? What is going on? Please, like, clue me in. And then, no, I want to put my blinders on. So I want to share a bit of our story, and then moving into the last little portion of it, living in it. My mom is alive. She'll be 90 in August, and we are living this journey out loud called dementia. Her name is Robbie. I'll get over this in a minute, maybe 2 seconds. Her grandchildren call her Bop, B-O-P. When Kylie was 10 months old, she called her that. We have no idea how, why. It just stuck, Bop, Grandma Bop. And in their teens, they started calling her Badass Grandma. Today, she is just simply Grams. I'm going to walk through our little journey, what has happened that had me wondering what the heck, how we processed it or didn't because of the denial, and what living in it is like right now. So life with her, the WTH, and then living in it. But first, I want to tell a little bit about who my mom was. As I knew her growing up and as a grandmother to my children. I have 2 girls, both nurses. That's been a huge blessing. She was our laundress, our babysitter, and she was always the first call when I had an emergency until just a few years ago. My mom was a woman without a name until my dad died suddenly fighting a fire in Clear Lake. She was always Jack's wife, or Mark, Liz, or Angie's mom. She was very proper and orderly. We didn't cuss. In fact, in our house, we couldn't even say F-A-R-T. And I still can't even say it out loud today because it was such a forbidden word for my mom. Our house was always in order, and she always kept her voice low. She was fun and spontaneous. Name a group, she was in it. Red Hats, the Monday Morning Breakfast Club, Questers, she played bridge. She was super active. She was argumentative and a little bit manipulative. And they say, all those smart they people, that if you were manipulative in your previous world, as you progress into this disease, you absolutely can stay manipulative. So we are keeping our sense of humor, and my siblings and I have some fun conversations about that. I just forward messages, 25 of them that came in the last 25 minutes, so they can hear the voicemail messages that are coming in. My mom hated not getting her way, and I never once grew up hearing her say, I'm sorry. We didn't learn to say, I'm sorry. She was very self-aware, and she dressed to the nines. She had absolutely every article of clothing dry cleaned. She wore a ton of jewelry, and she would never think about going in public in her grubbies or her sweatpants. So then we move into this whole what is happening thing. I want to talk through the physical and the emotional and the mental, like her and us. But what had started happening? She got really irritable, and she wasn't eating. She wasn't making her bed. She had a cat, and the litter box was not getting cleaned. Her house smelled. There were dirty dishes everywhere. And she was super mad when I would try to help her organize her pill container, so she was taking those in a timely manner. I caught myself covering for her because I was so embarrassed. She would like spill coffee down her shirt and then call me and say, hey, let's go for coffee. And I'm like, okay, we can go for coffee, but can you please change your shirt? And why should I change my shirt? It was just so bizarre to me that someone who was so pristine and dressed really well now could just give a rip about having coffee all over her white blouse or her pants. And I caught myself taking her places, and when we would see people we know and she would talk in a manner that she didn't know them or was confused, I did the old like, I think what my mom's trying to say is, it's really nice to see you. And I'm trying to do the winks, hoping that people will figure out that there's something wrong, because I just was so in denial and so embarrassed. I wanted people to know, like, I was aware something was goofy and I wanted them to be aware of too. It's like when you get your hair cut and it's not a good cut and you look really silly and you tell everyone like, I got my hair cut and it looks really bad, right? I was living that part of, yeah, there's something going on and I don't really know what it is. So I'm just gonna wink and come on, Mom, here we go on to the next thing. Complete denial. Another what the heck moment. I was grieving. I would just lie in bed at night and just think, oh, I just wish I could have my mom back because she was so fun. I would call and say, hey, I'm picking you up. I got the dogs in the car. We're just going to go through the drive-thru and get coffee. I only have like 20 minutes, but get ready. And she'd be standing outside, and it was just fast and furious. And we just had fun. She was very adventurous. And then I remember the day she called me a bitch, and I nearly fell over. And it's only happened twice, once in the early days, and I was devastated. And I cried my eyes out. And then it happened a couple months ago, and I was like, our family has this game we call What You Really Want to Say. So we taught our kids this growing up, and it was all about, like, when someone was being a bully, we wanted to talk about how to respectfully gather the information and respond respectfully. But then we would always play this game like, well, what did you really want to say? And then it was like our therapy, and it was so fun because we would say these crazy things. So the second time that she called me a bitch, I wanted to say like, yeah, I am, and I was born out of you, and you taught me how to be one. I mean, just the craziest things were coming out of her mouth. Okay, I got to wipe my glasses so I can see my notes. Sniffle, sniffle. Okay. The family dynamic, that was super interesting. And I have some friends that are going through this right now too. And I'm hearing about the family dynamic. I have a sister who has been estranged from my mom for about 20 years and never really kind when we would see her the occasional 4th of July parade or whatever. But I will tell you, in this situation 4 years ago, she came to my rescue, and she has been, she's been my therapy. She's the one I call when I leave the care facility, and I'm like, oh, I just feel like, look, she's dying, or damn it, I'm so mad at her, and she just like did something super rude or whatever. My sister would just listen, right? So that dynamic was really odd because they hadn't connected, but she was being so loving to me, and I needed it. My brother was dealing with his own set of mental health issues and doesn't believe in Western medicine. So when he would come in, we never knew where he was. He'd come in, he'd stay with my mom for a day or two or a week or 10 days and then be gone for 5 months or 2 days or whatever. And when I knew he was there, I felt comfort knowing he would help her get her medications. But he wasn't, because he didn't believe that she should be taking these medications to keep her heart functioning and her brain and whatever. So we've got that dynamic where mom's fine and she's falling. So she fell 3 times unbeknownst to me. And on the 3rd fall, he called me and said, I can't get her up, and I think we probably should take her to the hospital. And my mom hadn't taken drugs for a week, and she's low potassium and in AFib. She went from 210 pounds to 170 in a matter of a couple of weeks. It was crazy. So the signs were there. We completely knew that we needed a higher level of care. I got a phone call one day from my friend Erin who said, badass grandma is going the wrong way down Martin Luther King Drive, and she was just coming straight at us. I'm like, oh dear, well, she's on her way to the Drake Diner. I'll talk to her about it when she gets here. And she got there, and I'm like, Mom, I think you were going down the wrong way on Martin Luther King, and swear words fly. I'm like, God damn it, I would never do that. I am not that stupid. Like, she's fine, whatever. Another WTH moment. We're in with our memory care doctor. And I literally feel really silly saying this, but I believed that everybody in their 80s just started going to a memory care physician. I just thought it was what you did. And I know that sounds really silly, but that's just what I thought, because my mom had been going to this memory care doctor before I started going with her on appointments. So I just knew that her primary care provider probably said, okay, it's time to go see Dr. Bender. And after 2 years of going on appointments with her, and we were there every 6 months, I finally asked him for our diagnosis. And he looked at me like I was absolutely crazy. And he said, she has advanced stages of dementia. And I said, oh, I've never had a conversation about the diagnosis. I've never been given a form. Here, go to these resources, call aging resources, call this, do that. Here's a support group. There was absolutely no information coming from this physician, and it made me super sad. And I knew that we should probably start doing our own type of reaching out when I took my mom to see him, and I'd written a little note after the driving incident, and I handed it to his nurse on our way in. And I said, if you could keep this on the down low. And my note said, in confidence, ... please have a conversation with my mom about her driving. She's a danger to herself and others. And during that appointment, we got through whatever they were chatting about. And then Dr. B pulls this note out of his pocket, looks at my mom and I and says, in confidence, let's have a conversation. Please have a conversation with my mom about her driving. She is a danger to herself and others. Okay, let's talk about that. Are you having some issues with your driving? What do you think my mom is going to say? No, I'm driving very well. So that was an interesting W2H moment. We had a family meeting. My sister says, you lead, I'll help, I'll do whatever. And my brother says, she's fine. If you don't think that this apartment is fit for her, then let's find her a different apartment. Not quite the solution I was looking for. And this was also the time in my life when little white lies and fibbing became appropriate. And I say that lying versus little white lies or fibbing, fibbing is okay because your intention is not to crush them and hurt them. So I made fibbing completely appropriate in this journey. And the first time I ever told my mom a fib was that it was tour day at 3801 Grand. We live in Des Moines, by the way, have a little place in Clear Lake where I grew up. And I met with the marketing director, and I said, she just absolutely doesn't think there's anything wrong. If I talk about assisted living, it's going to be a disaster. Can we just say it's tour day and I'll be here whenever you tell me? She's like, I'll meet you here on Friday at 11. I go to my mom and I'm like, it's tour day at 3801. And she's like, I could never afford that. And I'm like, you probably can't, but let's go and check it out. She goes, she loves it, and she moves in. At this point, too, we're almost in the living in it stages, and we are spending thousands of dollars of our own money to keep her medications coming and to provide food and have food delivered and pay the debt, because Yonkers closed their doors, and because they closed their doors, her account shouldn't have to be paid because they are no longer in business. So the collection people are calling, and she's not paying anything on time, and it's a disaster, and we're trying to keep ahead of it. And I've said 100 times, and I say this just because I'm kind of crabby about it. Like, our kids could have their college paid for with what we spent to keep my mom just above water with medications and her financial obligations. And interestingly enough, I did learn about a program for facility care through Medicaid. And it took a long time. That's a whole nother program for another time. Going through that was super, super interesting. So those are the signs that we all were living, my family and I primarily, that made us think, okay, it's time for assisted living. So she did, in fact, move into this place. And we navigated the search for her care and applied for Medicaid with the help of a facility. We spent 6 weeks packing up her 32 years of apartment living with 2 storage units, literally 6 weekends, so that we could pack her up. And that was sort of fun. And the fun things you learn about your loved ones when they don't know you're looking. We didn't know my mom went to this like 32% interest place to borrow $5,000 for Lord knows what. I'm like, I would have loaned you that $5,000 for 1%, lady. So we're finding all of these things and learning like the story of more debt, and it's okay. You know, she didn't learn any better. And thank God I married a husband who taught me that I don't ever want a phone call that says, is Angela there? I'm like, oh, I think I forgot to pay my car payment. And he's like, you don't ever miss your car payment or pay it late. So we'll thank God for Tony Sly. She's off to $3801 grand, and dropping her off there and setting up her room was like a college drop off. I was like leaving my child, and I like digressed, or whatever the word is I'm looking for. And I'm like wondering, is she going to sit at the lunch table by herself? Does she have enough food? Is she going to be taking her medications timely? Is she cold? Does she have the right blanket? Is she making friends? And I'll just keep this part super brief. I just say this for the sake of, this isn't just a one-stop shop disease. There are things that come up every single bit of this journey that are so interesting. She left place number 1 for place number 2. It was my favorite place, was number 2, because it was assisted living and memory care in a lockdown unit. And it was beautiful. And she was there for 15 days, and then she fell and broke her back. She went to place number 3 to rehab her broken back, and we just happened to be leaving for New York for a family wedding at the same time. And this was literally the first time in my life I reached out to people and said, I need your help. I knew my sister wasn't going to come hang out for a week because she has 2 jobs and she has a family to take care of herself. My brother was, I don't know where at that point. And so I literally started calling every one of my besties in Des Moines, Iowa, and said, here's the deal. And I called all of her friends of sane mind and said, would you guys please go visit my mom, take her ice cream, do whatever. And so I left a little logbook and asked everybody to take pictures so I could see that she was still alive. And it was like the most desperate time in my life. But it worked, and it was beautiful, and people want to help when you ask them, can you please help me? Like literally a 15-minute visit would be great, because my mom would say, I'm tired and you need to leave. Like you couldn't hang out with her for very long anyway. So I'm like, please give me 15 minutes. Place 3 took her on full time. That social worker was amazing. Some social workers suck. This one was absolutely amazing. So ask for a social worker and get to the bottom of your questions. And I don't know if you know this, but when you're on Medicaid, if they deem that you need a higher level of care, they want to kick you out. And in our case, they could rent that room for $14,000 a month. And our facility pay, which by the way is pretty decent from what I understand, was like $3,379. And so the social worker said, as you're interviewing places, you need to tell them your participation is high. So I wouldn't have thought that that would have been a high participation rate, but I started using that as I needed it. And she got kicked out. So she had to leave because after being in 2 other rooms there, she had to leave because she needed a higher level of care, and she kept sneaking out. And even though she had a wander guard that would set off alarms, she got out 3 times in the same week. And I never knew about it until it was time for them to say she needed another place. And if they find another place, it could be in Mason City or Kansas City or Osceola or Audubon, Iowa. If they find a bed for a Medicaid patient, they go. So I'm like, okay, I got to be in charge. Please just give me some time to figure out, because it's very limited where you can get Medicaid beds. Again, we need to do a whole talk on that. It's crazy. And that would be really humorous too. I'll keep some fun in that because it was such a nightmare. So she gets kicked out of that place and moves to place number 4. She goes to a memory care unit in place number 4. I should have followed my gut on that. I said to my sister, she's the only verbal person in this entire wing. Everybody else was nonverbal, and they were wanderers. My mom had been a widow for 40 years and lived alone and was not used to having people in her room. And there was a woman that kept coming in her room, and my mom is feisty. And my mom would say, this is my place, you need to leave. And the woman pushed her down. She cracked her head open, bloodbath, ambulance ride, staples in her head, complete and utter disaster. And they moved her then to the long-term care side of that facility. You guys should be my friend on Facebook. You could review all of these crazy stories. So for me, living this out loud has been my therapy, and I'll get to that. But long story short, she moved. In 4 years, we were in 4 locations and 7 rooms. Complete craziness. And it's just what had to happen. And I had to be her advocate. And I see those people in her room. I mean, I'm checking her in and checking her out. And there's pages and pages and pages, because my goal is to have experiences and, like, let's just go get Dairy Queen and let's go just do this, and short stints, and we're going to the cabin. Let's go for the weekend. Oh, Evie's flying in from Tampa. Let's go pick up Evie at the airport, and then we're going to our house for a barbecue. I want to do all of those things, but at the same time, I know when I need to have boundaries and when it's exclusive and when it's inclusive, when to be inclusive and include her, and when to be exclusive. Like, I need a date night, and my husband is like, no, we are not taking your mom to dinner again. Can we just go ourselves? Okay. What I know now that I'm living in it, proper for my mom went out the window. This is my little first slide. This is, okay. So my little Facebook, Daily Dose of Dementia, my mom and I started doing Facebook Live videos because she's hilarious. She went from proper to talking about sex, talking about wanting a boyfriend, thinking that she wants to get remarried. I mean, she is a totally different person, and yet still super funny. And it's kind of sad at the same time. Like, we all just long for loving and being loved. But let me just whip this little baby out. Daily Dose of Dementia. This is from April. Before I share pictures of our short trip to visit Evie and Brendan, here's a fun picture of my mom. She needed new undies, and I found some silk undies by Laura Ashley, a brand she loved in the 1980s. She said, I think these are red underwear, and I've never had red underwear. I said, well, I think they're hot pink and they fit your sassy personality. They're red, Angie. Well, whatever color they are, you're super sassy, and you just never know when you're going to get caught in your undies in this place. And then laughter erupts. She's sitting in this chair with her door open, waiting for my brother, who never came. So my brother had called her, and she has spilled so much Coca-Cola and coffee on her phone that she can't hear it. She can't hear the ring. And so my brother called me and said, I'm going to go pick up mom for lunch. So I get a message to the staff and say, just let mom know that Mark's coming and taking her to lunch. He calls her phone twice. She doesn't answer. So it's his, like, off the hook, I'm not going to go. And she literally waits all afternoon for him to come. That made me cry. Called her twice, but she didn't answer. I reminded him that she has too much Coca-Cola and coffee spilled on her phone, and to please just go when you say you're going, because there are some things she doesn't forget. Like Friday, when you said you'd be there around 2 to take her for coffee and didn't show up. She's still fun and very spontaneous. This one just absolutely cracked me up. We were in the car wash. I said, well, I'm ready for a nap. And she said, I'm still trying to figure out where I live. And we both laugh. And just like the most random, she's just fun. And every day I'm taking her home after she's been with me. She's asking me, does she live by the airport? Is that still her place? She can walk 10 miles. If I don't feel like taking her home, she can walk home and make it on her own. Living in it, my emotions are all over the board. I give myself permission to cry and set boundaries. I was going 7 days a week, and then I went to 6, and now I'm at 5. And just having those 2 additional days, I don't set it like I'm only going 5 days, but just knowing I don't have to be there every single night and that she is safe has given me a lot of freedom in my brain. I do block her phone number sometimes at work. She will call 100 times. Okay, maybe 48. Go ahead and show that one. 46 voicemail messages. You can see in the bottom right-hand corner. 46 voicemail messages. And the theme is, call me. I'm sitting on my bed. I want to come meet you. If you tell me where, I'll call, just call me right back. And like the messages go on and on and on. And it turns out like funny because my voicemail is full and people are texting me saying your voicemail's full. And I'm like, dang, we have a real estate business. We're a husband-wife team in Des Moines. And like people can't reach me. That's a big drag. Okay, so I have to call Tony. Well, whatever. And I look like I'm not pulling my weight. So I decided to put on my voicemail. Hi, it's Angie Sly Real Estate Team. Sorry I'm not available to take your call. Please leave a message if you can. Sometimes my sweet mom will leave 50 messages a day. And if you can't get through, just try back or send me a text message. And I think I'm like, solve the problem. But what happens is my mom starts calling me and saying, I heard you talking about me. I know everybody's talking about me. I know you think I call you too much, and I'm just never going to call you again. And then click. And this happens for like 5 days, and I'm like, what is she talking about? I have no idea. And then it dawns on me that every 46 calls in one day, every time that voice recorder, whatever, my voicemail comes on, it's saying, leave a message if you can. Because my sweet mom leaves 50 messages a day on this thing, and she is mad, and she thinks we're all talking about her. She does this thing, and I'll wrap it up here because I know we need to move on. She does this thing where, this is the manipulative part, where she'll call and she'll use this baby voice, which drives me crazy. Angie, I need you. I'm sick. Will you please come quick? Come quick. She used to say that as kids. Come quick, Jack. And that meant there was an emergency or a fire or something awful. And I would say, Mom, if it's an emergency, I think I should call 911. And then she just explodes, says the Lord's name in vain, GD, just forget it. Like she goes from, to forget it, and then hangs up the phone on me. I'm like, okay. Yeah, that whole keeping your voice low thing and being proper, right out the window with this whole thing. It's been really interesting to watch. And we are keeping our sense of humor. I mean, you have to, or you're going to like suffocate and die. Another thing, living in it. Our advocates are, this makes me cry. Our daughters are both nurses, one in Des Moines in pediatrics and one at the Moffitt Cancer Center in Tampa, Florida. And I'll tell you, this one that's local knows when I need a break. And she'd worked a 13-hour day. And she said, what are you doing? I said, just folding Graham's laundry, and I'm going to go deliver it. And she said, no, I'm going to go tuck her in, and you can deliver laundry tomorrow. You've had enough, Mom. Like, just rest. And I just think that find your family, your friends, your groups, your journal, your whatever it is, define what it is that is your advocate. For me, it is living out loud on Facebook. That is my therapy. I've had several people that I've met private message me, and they come for, tell me what you would do in this situation, or can you please pray for me? We're going to see facilities today, or do you know anybody in this area that is a realtor that could sell my parents' house, because now we're moving them to Wisconsin with us and we need to sell their house in Pennsylvania. It's been just kind of a neat little new sorority club that I never thought I'd be in, and I really didn't want to be in. But Facebook for me has been that therapy. We do have some tools for her, a whiteboard, arrows to say to cafeteria. She kept asking me, where do I get my lunch, or where do I get my breakfast, and how much does it cost? So there's notes all over, her little list of to-dos in her morning routine. One more thing, my middle of the night mind races. This goes back to that whole, I'm dropping my child off for college kind of thing. Daily dose of dementia, lots of doses. And you can see off to the right there, it starts at the bottom. The phone calls start at like 12 12:30 a.m., 12:46, 106, 106, 107, 107, 3:41. She's calling me in the middle of the night, and it doesn't happen very often. But I'm writing this. The emotional and physical similarities of parenting little ones are many. Sleepless nights. It's not like you would beg someone else to do this job because you know you are the best one for it. It's odd in a way to describe. It's really an honor to have this responsibility. And I feel that way. Like no one would take care of my mom like I take care of my mom. One difference is that I chose to have children. Well, God chose me, really. I didn't choose this journey. And I haven't seen a book like What to Expect When You're Expecting for people with dementia. There's no baby shower, no baby gifts, no tools to help you keep this human alive. I'm not prepared. It's innate, though. You just do something, anything, with gentleness and awe, joy and heartbreak, moments of feeling wise, and I did it, and those of complete cluelessness, and I need a timeout. My middle of the night mind races. Just silence your phone, Angie. Thank God she can still use her phone, I think. It will vibrate anyway and wake you up if she needs you. What if she falls and she's reaching out because she needs you? Because that's happened. What if she's just tapping her phone 100 times? That's what it looks like sometimes when she FaceTimes me. I see this one eye, and then this is all I hear. She's just pushing, like doesn't know what she's doing. When is my first appointment in the morning? Okay, I'm just going to block her and get some rest. But what if I don't check on her? What if they don't check on her in the middle of the night? You guys get it, right? I play the game of let me play a game of solitaire on my phone at 3 a.m. Why not fire up my brain and stay awake longer? Are you there, God? It's me, Angie. Hey, Dad, remember those hooky days that you and Mom granted us growing up? Can I please have one of those today? Oof, okay. I will just, I'll just do my little closing, but I'll just show you, I think there's just a couple of, just this one last picture, and this is us like throwing all proper things out and keeping our sense of humor. We gave her an Easter basket. We did the whole video, take her the Easter basket. Everything that I got was from a consignment shop in Des Moines called Stuff, Etc. And it was jewelry and cute things for her room and a Easter bunny she loved. She has new babies. Well, she has one baby named Randy Rainbow because she got playing bingo as a prize. But she loves stuffed animals, and she has probably 25 or 30 in her room. So we give her this basket, and in it are these pins, these porcelain pins that I had to have security walk up for me to make this $5.99 purchase at the Stuff, Etc. store because they were so valuable. And I come to visit her one night, and here they are near her vagina. And I said, Mom, I love your pins. And then I started singing, I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here is my handle, here is my... I pause, I look at her, we both giggle, and I whisper, vagina. And laughter erupts. So we are keeping our sense of humor. We are keeping our sense of humor. I'm Angie Sly. I'm a sister and a mom and a wife and a friend, daughter of a Robbie who has dementia. She's the same as I knew her growing up, and yet she is so very different. It's an honor to care for her and navigate our way, and navigating the changes in the living in it part is hard and doable. Having a support group is key. I encourage you to ask for help and ask for resources, and you're going to get a whole bunch of them shortly as soon as I'm done. Define what help is and what therapy is for you, and find it or create it. I wish I had known what to ask that memory care doctor early on. I catch myself wishing I had known this was coming. I wish I would have had some advanced notice. I wish. And then I pause and thank God for the blessing of not knowing. I would have forgotten to pay attention to the moments of those days, every moment, every hour, every day when she was healthy. I do wish I had known of a place to gather and to learn and find a group like this. And now I do. Thank you.